This is the Fox 25 Late Edition.
At least 5 people missing tonight after an explosion at a drilling rig in Quinton, Oklahoma. The explosion happened at around 9 o'clock this morning. Fox 25 has since learned about 24 people were on site at the time. 17 are accounted for. One was airlifted with burn injuries. That explosion sparked several fires and sent thick black smoke into the air. The derrick, a towering metal structure above the well, also collapsed. Several crisis intervention teams have since been brought in for those impacted.
Right now, they're just checking everything, trying to get everything cooled down on location. It's still pretty hot, and it's still a lot of gas coming out of that wellhead. So until they get that contained, everything's going to stay as is.
The drilling site was being operated by Oklahoma City-based Red Mountain Energy. Several other drilling companies had employees on the location. We're told at least 3 of the missing are employed by Patterson Drilling. Their names are not being released at this time. Concerned family members are being encouraged to contact the Pittsburgh County Sheriff's Office.
Ever since news broke of the oil well explosion, the small community of Quinton has been rattled.
Fox 25's Jennifer Falsetti spoke to some residents who say the incident is devastating for the whole town. She is live in Quinton. Jennifer.
Yeah, Mike and Wendy, everybody that I spoke to today had something to say about this morning's explosion. And the community center hosted or served as a staging area for survivors of that blast and their family members. Now, we saw volunteers going to help them as well, bringing food and water to that site. Now, Quinton is a very small community of just over 1,000 people. Some residents we spoke with say that with a town this small, chances are they know someone who was working on that well when the explosion happened, or one of the 5 people that are missing here tonight. Leona Riggins described to us the moment she learned the horrifying news.
Our nephew in California tagged us in a post on Facebook, and that's how we found out that a rig exploded out here. And I feel, they said there was like 5 people missing, and it's like devastating. He used to work in the oil fields in California, so we know how it is.
And things are quiet here right now in the town of Quinton, but behind me, there were emergency vehicles there all through the night, including fire trucks. Those have since left. It does appear that many people have gone home for the night here in the town of Quinton. Now, law enforcement at the community center did ask that we give the victims and their families privacy at this time. We, of course, respected those wishes. Mike and Wendy.
All right, did anyone else feel like they were going to get blown over today?
Even while driving on the interstate a little bit. Ooh. Our chief meteorologist, Jeff George, has tonight's first forecast. Going to tell us if those winds are going to stick around.
Good evening, everyone. That Oklahoma wind was huffing and puffing hard today. Maximum wind gusts this afternoon were in the 40s and 50s. We hit 47 miles an hour in Oklahoma City. That does make driving and walking around pretty tough. And low to mid 50s, Watonga up towards Alva. Now, when the sun went down, it did slow down and calm down quite a bit, but it's still a little bit breezy. You can see the flags flapping around here in the Fox 25 studios. So this is the WeatherBug Network thanks to Air Comfort Solutions. Temperatures right now are in the 30s. We're heading down to 28 tonight in Oklahoma City. Chilly, a little gusty. After midnight, not much wind. Back to freezing mornings most of this week, and 60s do make a big return. Up and down fire danger, and our next weather maker coming up in your Storm Watch 7-day in just a few minutes.
Jeff, thank you. Happening today around the metro. Here's a live look at OG&E's Twitter page. OG&E began work today in Puerto Rico to help restore electricity. Crews arrived to Puerto Rico on Saturday to help the country recover from the hurricane that hit last year.
The State Department of Education is using
the State Department of Education is using some new data from a survey of teachers who left Oklahoma to fight for teacher raises. The survey found pay is the #1 reason teachers are leaving Oklahoma classrooms. 20% quit because of low pay. Superintendent of Public Instruction Joy Hoffmeister says this data confirms that the most effective step to reducing the crisis is to increase teacher pay.
Thousands have said they will come back if pay is higher. We believe the right place to start is with competitive teacher compensation, and that's what we will be requesting.
Hoffmeister is submitting a proposed budget to the legislature that includes a $5,000 pay raise for teachers this year. She says state lawmakers simply cannot wait any longer to address this crisis.
Police need your help after a suspect tied up a woman, then took money from the business. Micah Sedaris told Fox 25 the suspect walked in, casually asking about their loan process, then went behind the counter and grabbed her arm. She says he tied her wrist with a sweater and her legs with an old banner. That's when the conversation became weird. He first asked for her name.
He laughed at me and then he asked me for my phone number, and I said, "Excuse me?" And he was like, "Well, I might want to call you. I like a woman who can listen." And so I said, "Well, you can have my office phone number if you ever want to, call me back, give me the money."
The victim also tells Fox 25 she remained calm because she worried he would take advantage of her.
Happening around the country today, 3 board members are out at USA Gymnastics as more of Larry Nassar's victims confronted the man who abused them. Fox News correspondent Laura Engel has more for us.
At this point, talk is cheap.
USA Gymnastics begins cleaning house as 3 top board members of the organization resign amidst a sexual assault scandal that has rocked the gymnastics community. Carrie Perry, president and CEO, saying, quote, "As the board identifies its next chair and fills the vacant board positions, we remain focused on working every day to ensure that our culture, policies, and actions reflect our commitment to those we serve."
Nobody was protecting us from being taken advantage of. Nobody was even concerned whether or not we were being sexually abused.
USA Gymnastics has been under heavy scrutiny over their mismanagement of sexual abuse suffered at the hands of former national team doctor Larry Nassar. Nassar pleading guilty to sexually assaulting 10 girls under the guise of medical treatment. But over 100 more have come forward to confront the doctor. The resignations of the chairman, vice chairman, and treasurer announced Monday as Nassar's victims continue their emotional testimony for a 5th day in a Michigan courtroom.
I do feel badly every time I see you. I am such a sympathetic person that despite how much evil you have spread, it still hurts me to see you so thin and gaunt. It is sad knowing what was likely a gifted mind for sports medicine will now rot behind bars in prison.
Over 100 victim impact statements have been given so far. Nassar is facing up to 40 years for his crimes, in addition to a 60-year sentence for child pornography charges. In New York, Laura Engel, Fox News.
Most Republicans are not coming out and saying it, spiking the ball, but many Democrats, especially progressives, say their leadership caved.
Fox News correspondent Peter Ducey is on the Hill tonight with part of the story.
We've decided that we could not go against our conscience and vote for a bill that hurts American people.
House Democrats are dumbfounded. Their colleagues across the Capitol caved.
I am a House Democrat, and I can tell you that there's no trust here on the House side because there's been none earned.
Illinois Congressman Luis Gutierrez says, quote, "This shows me that when it comes to immigrants, Latinos, and their families, Democrats are still not willing to go to the mat to allow people in my community to live in our country legally." Voting yes was deemed too toxic for 5 progressives rumored to have their eyes on the White House in 2020. Senators Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Kamala Harris all voted no. Harris, the California Democrat, then tweeted, quote, "The majority leader's comments fell far short of the ironclad guarantee I needed to support a stopgap spending bill. I refuse to put the lives of nearly 700,000 young people in the hands of someone who has repeatedly gone back on his word." But McConnell's word is good enough for longtime Vermont Senator Pat Leahy, even though Leahy voted no.
He has given his word he will. And so far, the only person who's stayed there for a shutdown and against the Dreamers is the president.
Most red state Democrats up for re-election ultimately voted yes on the 3-week-long spending bill. One did not. Montana Senator John Tester.
Just to cut right to the chase, I didn't vote for this because it's a bad deal for Montana. It has never been about DACA for me. It's been about making sure we have a budget that doesn't go a month or 3 weeks at a time.
Outside groups, which have been helping energize a base that now gives Democrats a 51 to 39-point advantage on a generic ballot in a Washington Post ABC News poll, are also steamed. MoveOn.org says, quote, "This is a bad, outrageous deal. Trump and Republicans in Congress stood with their anti-immigrant nativist base, and too many Democrats backed down, abandoned dreamers, and failed to fight for their values. But prominent Democrats think those activists aren't appreciating the realities of being in the Senate's minority."
When you're in the U.S. Senate, you have a real good sense of what you can get and how. And look, I completely respect anybody who has a passionate belief about what should be done. But those of us who are here usually have a pretty good sense of how it should be done.
Republican senators that I've spoken to are wondering out loud, if the Democrats were not going to squeeze anything out of McConnell, why didn't Schumer just make a deal before the shutdown? And that is something many liberals are wondering tonight as well. On Capitol Hill, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Are smartphones the latest addiction parents need to try and keep their children away from?
As Braxton Parr with our digital news partner Circa tells us, some believe the answer is yes.
Are kids becoming too addicted to their smartphones? Two of Apple's investors think so. They published an open letter to the tech giant citing studies describing the negative effects of smartphone addiction.
And these phones are causing there to be a change in regards to social development of children. And we don't have a full understanding of how that's going to impact them.
The studies found smartphone addiction in children can lead to a higher risk of depression, suicide, and sleep deprivation.
What we know is it may not be the damage of the phones themselves, but rather what you're missing in regards to family life.
Apple responded to the letter by releasing a statement that reads in part, "We think deeply about how our products are used and the impact they have on users and the people around them." For Circa in Washington, I'm Braxton Parr.
Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you had a real nice weekend. It has been pretty rough around here the past few days with those strong gusty winds, but it could always be worse. And not too far away, we have a blizzard happening right now. We're winding down in Kansas and Nebraska. This big storm is quickly moving to the northeast, so this is not our next big weather maker in Oklahoma. The next one, big storm coming in Friday and Friday night. And when that does get here, we're talking about mostly a weak front with very limited moisture. That means some rain, no snow, no ice, so no big deal. Overnight lows tonight, a big chill somewhere in the 20s, and pretty much everyone winds up below freezing. Now tomorrow, yeah, the wind slowed down a lot, so that's going to be a good thing. So if you had trash cans out today, they were probably knocked over or way down the street. So today, a level 3 or 4, and we're all the way down to a level 2 tomorrow. So your trash cans and anything else you have outside should mostly stay put. We do start off your Tuesday in the 20s, a bit of a nip under mostly clear skies, and we spend the rest of the morning in the 30s and 40s. Chilly and dry, a lot of sunshine tomorrow should put those high temperatures in the low to mid 50s, cool, and that's above average. So again, a ton of sun, and we continue with mostly dry skies really all week. Wednesday, 50s to about 60, and temperatures keep on climbing on Thursday and Friday. 62 Thursday, Friday in the middle 60s, but before it warms up anymore, that cold front does come in late Friday. It causes a small chance of rain. That's it. And the winds do pick up and increase with that system coming in too. So when the winds get cranking, the fire danger does elevate, but near critical. It will not be through the roof, but we still have to be careful. And the fire danger does go down this weekend as the temperatures go down behind that front. Highs in the 50s, morning lows in the 30s, and then next Monday, more sunshine and more 60s.
Hello, everybody. I got some football news concerning Oklahoma. Sooners are adding a new coach to the staff. Sooners will add Shane Beamer, who was the special teams coordinator and tight ends coach at Georgia this past season. He'll have the title of assistant head coach and help Lincoln Riley prepare game plans. Beamer's the son of former Virginia Tech head coach Frank Beamer. Now, since the season ended for the Sooners, it's been a busy time for the football staff, with longtime strength and conditioning coach Jerry Schmidt leaving for Texas A&M. And there are also reports that longtime assistant Cale Gundy may be moving on to Arizona to join former Sooner assistant and new Wildcats head coach Kevin Sumlin. Cale, like Jerry Schmidt, are the last of Bob Stoops' original staff that arrived back in 1999. Cale's coached running backs for most of his time at Oklahoma, producing stars like Adrian Peterson and DeMarco Murray, before moving on to inside receivers coach a couple seasons ago and producing standouts there as well. Plus, he's known as an excellent recruiter. He carries the title as co-offensive coordinator, but Riley calls the plays. And if that wasn't enough OU football news, running back Abdul Adams has transferred from Oklahoma to Syracuse. He was the third leading rusher this past season with 542 yards, which included this 99-yard TD run against Baylor. But his playing time has diminished with the emergence of Rodney Anderson to go along with some fumbling problems that he's had. He's already enrolled in classes at Syracuse. Basketball, when Oklahoma freshman sensation Trae Young scored 48 points and the Sooners lost to Oklahoma State. He moved to fifth on the school's list for most points scored in a single game. The guy he passed is former Sooner Buddy Hield, who scored 46 in a loss at Kansas in 2016. That season, Hield went on to win the National Player of the Year award and was the first-round pick of the NBA, where he now plays for the Sacramento Kings. The current King talked with Sam Gannon about the guy who seems set on breaking all the Sooner records.
Buddy Hield is still figuring out life as a pro. Taken by New Orleans with the 6th overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft, he's now in his second season in the league, but with a different team. He experienced the business side of things when he was sent to Sacramento last February.
NBA is a grind, you just got to be ready each and every day. There'll be some days where you're comfortable playing late night and you got a back-to-back and your legs and tired. You should be focused and mentally locked in each and every day and come ready to play. If you don't come ready to play, teams can go on you and hit you. You look, you're down like 15, so you gotta be ready to play and be ready to hit back.
Hield returned to his old stomping grounds last week when he paid a visit to his Sooners.
It's good to go back and connect with Coach and Coach Crutch and all the players. And it's good to players to see my face, and give them a word of encouragement and tell them to stay focused.
The former National Player of the Year can relate to all the attention freshman superstar Trae Young is getting, but
I tell everybody, watch out for Trae because I know he's gonna have the green light with Coach Kruger. To be honest, I didn't know he's gonna be dropping 40 balls like this, but I know he's gonna be great. But I didn't know he's gonna be dropping like what he's doing now. But most things surprise me. He's making plays with his teammates. As a scorer and as a scoring point guard, for a guy to make plays each and every play down the court, he comes down. Makes the right pass. That's tough to do, and he's doing it, and they're winning.
And as far as Trae going pro after this season, well, that'll be for him to decide.
It's every kid dream to get there, but if he's ready, go. But if he doesn't feel like he's ready, it's hard. Tell him he's not ready. Stay and have fun in college and try to live a legacy. But if he's ready, which I think he is, why not test the waters?
Basketball rankings, Oklahoma fall out of the top 4 after a couple losses last week. Villanova and Virginia 1 and 2 with Purdue, Duke, and Kansas, the top Big 12 team at number 5. West Virginia number 7. Sooners dropping 8 spots to 12 with a 14-4 record, but the teams who play in the Big 12 allows you to move right back up if you can win the games. Texas Tech at 14 after a rough stretch as well, with Wichita State coming in at number 17. Of course, I just mentioned the Big 12 schedule offers you a chance to move up in the rankings if you can win. Well, the Sooners have that tomorrow night when they host 5th-ranked Kansas. It's really a must-win game for the Sooners if they have designs on winning the Big 12 title. They're 4-3 in the league compared to KU's 6-1 mark. A lot of basketball left, but protecting home court a must in this league. Senator Monty McNeese will play after injuring his ankle Saturday against Oklahoma State. Tip-off tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Oklahoma State also playing tomorrow night at Texas Tech. Cowboys still trying to figure out how to win on the road after getting 3 of the 4 Big 12 losses away from Stillwater. And Super Tuesday also includes the Thunder, who are home tomorrow night against the Brooklyn Nets. Usual tip time of 7 o'clock. There's your sports.
Why did the shutdown happen? According to Democrats in the Senate, it was all about illegal immigration. Yes, you heard that right. The Democrats insisted on a resolution of the fate of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, DACA, in order to keep our government open. Instead, they got a deal from the Senate Republicans that DACA will be addressed in a few weeks. And if it's not, Senate Democrats are promising to shut the government down once again. Keep in mind, a shutdown has immediate negative results, including on our military. 90,000 members of the National Guard and 20,000 members of the Army Reserve had their training canceled. They had to pay to travel home out of their own pockets. According to Secretary of Defense James Mattis, a shutdown causes the Department of Defense to stop all of its maintenance work and also to stop all of its intelligence operations throughout the world. Was there a deadline looming on DACA which made an immediate solution necessary? Nope. That's coming up in March and could be extended by the president. So why shut down the government? Politics. Democrats figured that since Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, the American voter would blame the GOP for the shutdown. Here's the bottom line. This is not a long-term solution. It is just another stopgap. The American people could be facing another federal government shutdown in just a couple of weeks since there's no federal budget in place. Senate Democrats could not be allowed to hold the American people hostage over illegal immigration.
And pretty nice winter afternoons coming our way this week. Freezing or below in the mornings, but still, again, most of your days will be nice and pleasant, especially as we go into the weekend. Now, highs will drop into the 50s, but again, above average, only a small chance of rain coming up on Friday. No big winter storms. Have a nice night.